What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Good evening. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Just give me a sound check. Looks like we have two sources of sounds. Let me just mute one. That's a desktop audio. How's the sound? Is the background audio bothering anybody? Sound is good. Let me just drop this. What's going on, guys? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Cool. No, I didn't stop using Twitch. I just I'm going in between them. So just give it a minute. How's everybody feeling about the market? Background sounds porny. Just give everybody a minute. All right, cool. All right, guys, what's going on? My name is Ryan, also known as Cantor and Clark, and this is the BlockRoots YouTube. Ideally, it is your non-sensationalist source of crypto market analysis with a focus on BTC, market profile and order flow, although we do get into some of the basics. So we're going to go over some charts. We're going to talk about how Quant Tower bugged and cost me 13K, had me buy 8.7 million contracts, how their platform glitched. So we'll go over that so that none of you guys make that same mistake. I could have had one of my entire accounts liquidated, and that amount would have been very significant. So just before we get into anything, just as a reminder, none of this is to be taken as financial advice. This is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Thank you guys for tuning in, of course, on behalf of myself and my partner, Josh Rager. So if you're unfamiliar with BlockRoots and this is your first time, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and just as a heads up, we are the co-founders of BlockRoots, which is an order flow and market profile resource. We have an entire course dedicated to it, a Discord, yada, yada, yada. We also want to thank our sponsors, so Phemex.trade. So you'll see the link below in the description, Phemex.trade. By using that link, you'll have access to the current promotions that they're running, which comes in the form of a trading bonus and reduced trading fees. Trust me, transaction costs play a major role in your bottom line. If your goal is to be a professional trader, it's the one thing that you should try to mitigate as much as possible, unless you are less transaction cost sensitive, right? Certain traders, certain approaches are more transaction cost sensitive than others, but still everyone can do with lower fees. So they offer spot contracts and a yield generating platform or program rather as well. So we're going to talk right away about Quant Tower. Thank you. You like the ape? I have the ape. I'm waiting on a few other things, so it's kind of echoey in here, but ideally after we have, so that back wall right there is going to be a very large painting. So I have an oil painting being commissioned right now, and that should hopefully drown out some of this echo because we did just move into the house. But anyway, let's talk about what happened. So let me just go through the chat real quick. Say hi. Everything. Ross, what's up? Two Forks, Amjet, Trader M, Cornholio. Appreciate the love, man. Hit the likes, of course. Who else do we have? Silvio. Where's my? One sec. Just look for the main screen that shows the health of the stream. Okay, we're good. Donald, what's up? Alexander, LPB. Got some things to dampen the echo. Yes. Thank you. Sounds good. Twitch, blah, blah, blah. Went over that. I don't mean to say blah, 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 like write you off, but okay. Thanks. The grill is pretty cool. Thin ice. All right. Yep, Pellegrino. Okay, so let's talk about what happened. And to talk about what happened, first we're going to go over one of the things that I use that I'm no longer using, but I do have it up for the sake of going over exactly what happened yesterday. So if you're unfamiliar, go on to my Twitter. Just scroll back the last 2 days. Look at sort of the dialogue that has taken place. Let me just add me in the screen again. So I was using Quant Tower, okay? I've come from using Trading Technologies, Sierra Charts, and Quant Tower. I would use Sierra Charts if it had integrations with all of the major exchanges. As I've said before, you know, we're partners with Phemex, but I trade on, at one point I was trading on all the major crypto exchanges. Until recently, I've whittled that down to 3. So the Sierra Charts platform is fantastic. Trading Technologies is the creme de la creme, okay? Trading Technologies only has access to Coinbase, the CME obviously through Prime Brokers, and Deribit, all right? So I don't really have any use for Trading Technologies anymore. I don't really need the ladder for getting into spot positions that I could get into right on Coinbase if I wanted to just trade right off of Coinbase Pro. It's not really... it's not really, to me, it's not necessary for that. Okay, so I'm not going to pay $800 a month anymore to use TT. Sierra Charts, they only have integration with Binance, I believe, and BitMEX. So kind of asked out with that because I am not using those exchanges anymore. So Quant Tower offers a similar type of ladder, a nice aesthetic in terms of, transitioning from one ladder to the next. So going from TT to Sierra Charts, you're pretty much looking at what you would have on TT when you're looking at Quant Tower. So we're looking at the depth of market, we're looking at a DOM, and this is a ladder. Also, you refer to it as a ladder. And you can see I have my ladder set up many different ways. I have one ladder with a $1 aggregation. The next is the same asset, it's BTC, but a $10 aggregation. The one to the right is a 50, the other one is 100. So, if I'm scalping, looking to get in and out of positions very quickly, it's very useful to use this. For the sake of doing this video, I'll just show you if I want to, for example, market in for one contract, I click market in, I'm in. I could also buy right off the ladder. I could flatten immediately, close positions that are open, close positions that are attempted to be open. If I go to good till cancel, I could place limits right from here. So I could click, drag, move these up, add a stop loss. Okay, so now I can place a stop. Very easy to use. Okay, very important if you're scalping. A lot of times I'll market into a position and I will try to limit out. So what I'll do is, what I was doing, okay, is I would market in, typically market in, and I'd have another ladder set up with the higher aggregation, just so I could scale out of the position if I could with limit orders. Okay, so ideally one part of the round trip would be me getting paid a fee to balance out me paying a fee for using a market order. And I trade with a substantial amount of size. So, you saw that order for 8.7 million contracts. I don't remember the last time I traded over 5 million contracts. During peak bull market, yeah, but a lot of the times, like I have my sort of sweet spot that I operate within, unless I'm building spot positions, major swings, positional trades, longer term trades. My lower time frame trading is not going to be that ridiculous. So I'm not seeking to open up a position with a scalp for 8.7 million contracts, okay? Just the amount of market impact that you have off of that, the amount that you're paying in fees, you really have to make sure that you're trading exceptionally well in terms of precision. To do that, and you have to have the best conditions, obviously. If I'm scalping $100 to $200 rotations, that's suboptimal. So just to kind of convey the idea that I'm not trading with that amount of money if I am scalping, okay? I'm trading below 5 million contracts. I'm probably trading anywhere between 500,000 contracts to 2 million contracts, okay? So what I will a lot of times do is I'll tag on a position just to get exposure, to like anchor a position on, when you're flat, you have a different approach and different sort of sight than if you have a position, if you have risk tagged on. So what I'll do is I will, let's say I'm going to build a swing. I'll start tagging on some at market. Okay, so let's say I want to build a swing in a certain general area. I'll tag on a portion of that, just a market order. All right, I'm expecting maybe price to come against me. I'm just putting on risk. Okay, I'm just kind of hooking up. I'm making myself physically attached to the trade. Okay, so what I did yesterday, all right, was this is exactly what happened. And it's the worst thing is when you do something. Let's say you have an issue with customer support. This is kind of the case if you're going to return something to the store to the person who made money off of selling it to you, or it was the person responsible for making it. They're telling you something that is not true. Like they're saying, well, maybe you did this. Well, maybe you should go ahead and try to turn the computer on. Did you try unplugging it and plugging it back? Things like that. Okay, I know exactly what I did. I've been doing this for over 15 years now, going on 15 or over 15, can't remember. I'm older now, I don't want to dox my age. But I know exactly what the fuck I'm doing every single day when I'm at the computer. It's very rare that I'll make a mistake, okay? And yesterday was very unique, all right? Because since we moved into the house, I haven't been able to sit down the same way, that I was in the previous house, okay? Obviously, we just moved in. We're getting a lot of stuff done. I'm dealing with people coming in and installing certain things. The landscapers, the sod guys, just got a new washer dryer. So it's hard for me to get in front of the computer as much as I will be able to be in like say a week from now. I've been that busy. All right. So yesterday I'm dealing with like between the landscape architect and guys bringing in a washer dryer machine. Just got a new washer dryer machine. I don't want to go into too much detail and bore you guys, but just got a new washer dryer machine. Okay. Rather than move the old one, out with the old, in with the new, let's get something cool, smart washer dryer, hooks up to my phone, blah, blah, blah. All right, some LG thing. So I'm waiting on that delivery, and just to show you, okay, so this is a ladder. I want to go over it. The ladder was just like this. No special order types, okay? No automation, so just on none. No automation, no TWAP, no time-based execution over time every 5 minutes, nothing, okay? This was set to immediate or cancel, and I was tagging on the first 100,000 contracts. So one contract, $1. I'm building up a position that is starting off with 100,000 contracts. All right, so I immediately mark it in. That's what I'm doing, all right? Now, before this, just to sort of paint the scene a little bit, why did I mark it in? All right, so I'm looking at the higher time frame chart. Okay, so we'll just go to BTC real quick. All right, sorry, the guys right now are working in the backyard if you hear that. I'm looking at this chart and I'm thinking, I know where the major levels are. So let me just go to Coinbase, because not Coinbase, Bybit. I know where the major levels are. I know we have 42.5, I know we have 40, but in these kind of bullish conditions, how many times do you get that technical textbook pullback back to the major, the significant resistance or support? In this case, back to the obvious support. So expecting to kind of get front run, and because of that, where's the next area that I maybe could get involved that is meaningful, that we might see price return to, clean up, and buyers really be able to turn this thing around. So the next area that I had in mind was, let me just make sure you guys can, okay. So the next area I had in mind was right here. That is way too big. We do not want that ink size. One sec. All right, so right here, this gap, all right? You can't see it. Let me fix that because I just noticed that. That's why I want to move this. Right here, this gap, all right? So what we're looking at is this day right here, double distribution day, balance, okay, came from two very balanced days. A strong move to the upside, but left a gap down there. All right, left a row of single prints. An inefficiency that in a very strong trending market you might not see get cleaned up. But if we're beginning to show a loss of momentum, it's kind of the first area where I'm looking to get involved, or at least looking to see some type of meaningful reaction occur. So I am in between answering the front door, going back and forth to the backyard, looking at what the guys in the backyard are doing. All right? So the fucking washer dryer arrives, and they're like, you might want to take a look at this box. It's a little damaged. Okay, so needless to say, the washer dryer was broken when they delivered it. I had a new one delivered today. So having a bad couple of days. So we return back to this level. Okay, we're beginning to base out, put in some type of floor, right? So I'm thinking, let me tag on a position. This was right around here. I got in at 39,978. No, 43,978, I believe. So I tagged on 100K, all right? So all I did was I bought off of the ladder 100K. I know exactly what the fuck I did, okay? I walked over to the computer. I wasn't even sitting down. I kind of came in the office. I walked over. I'm not even in front of my keyboard. I reach toward my mouse and I just click once. All right, I don't double click or anything if the order doesn't go through. I'll click, make sure it goes through. I've had this experience before in the past. You click on an exchange, it doesn't go through right away. You click again, and guess what? You just tapped twice, right? You just filled yourself up for double the amount. There was a little bit of lag. So I've been doing this forever. All right, I don't make the silly mistakes like that. So I clicked once, and I have the agar tape. So I have this set up. I see a ton of orders coming through on Bybit, all right? 100K, 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 100K. I'm looking at the bottom portion of another screen I have where it has all my open positions, and already, almost immediately, okay, 100K every split second is being bought. The next thing I know, I'm up to 4 million contracts, okay? I go to flatten the position. I go to cancel the position. Not working. It keeps buying. I'm up to 7 million contracts. I had to log on to the exchange, all right? Try to flatten it there. When I flattened it there, all right, more orders kept getting sent through from Quant Tower, all right, through the API from Quant Tower. I have exited out of Quant Tower at this point, okay? More orders are coming through. They ping through. I cancel them. More orders come through. A total amount of 8.7 million contracts came through. So I had, luckily enough, not had price even move much against me in this time. It went in profit at first. I buy 8 million contracts. Everyone is seeing it. All right. People are longing because they're thinking that, this is at a low. If I saw that, I would not be longing. Okay. When I know that Bybit is buying, I don't long. Okay, I don't like to see Bybit getting too heavy. We know the story with that. All right, but it's a signal, right? So the market gave me some room to be closing this out. I closed it back out at I think a 50-cent increment from my entry. $100 movement against me is at that value is $19,000. So you watch Bitcoin move all day. $100,000 would have cost me 19K. Let's say price dropped to $1,000. All right. The point is, the round trip fee alone was 13K. So that 13K that I paid was not from the trade going against me. That's what I'll pay if I have to open up a position that much. I know that. If I'm marketing in for 2 million contracts, I know that I'm paying a lot of money, right? So that's not the point. The point is, okay, I walked over to my computer, I hit buy, and I stayed there for a split second. If I had hit it and then gone back to the door to check on the guys that were bringing the equipment around the side of the house, if I had fucking stepped away to, I don't know, anything, my account would have kept buying up and I would have liquidated my account. All right. I would have been in excess of my risk limit on the exchange. I would have capped that out. I probably would have represented a fair amount of the open interest for the day. All right. And I would have liquidated my account. Now, this is not my mistake. I have been trading forever now. I know what the fuck that I saw. I know what I did. And instead of Quant Tower owning up to this, I had multiple people, third parties, looking through the logs. Even Quant Tower said, they looked through the logs, they said, well, there's no hotkey, but maybe there was a hotkey. What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? There's no record of the hotkey being hit, but you're saying maybe it was a hotkey. That doesn't make any sense. Quant Tower is not owning up to the fact that they made a mistake, right? They made a mistake, okay? That cost me 13K. The 13K is, I don't care, all right? I don't care about the 13K. That's not the point. The point is, if I liquidate the account, okay, then we would be having some big issues, right? So they didn't help at all. They're trying to pin the blame on me, saying things like maybe I don't know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing, all right? That's like me saying to you, like, again, imagine you're trying to get something fixed. Did you maybe do the most obvious thing? And you're like, yeah, I know exactly what I did. Because what happened, when that happened, when I clicked and I saw the account go up that fast, created an emotional response. I immediately started focusing in on what happened. I know exactly what I did. I didn't click more than once. It's like, no, if I clicked more than once, I would know that I couldn't click that fast. I'd have to click 87 times. Look on the agger that I shared, all right? The agger display showed the first like 2 million orders coming through with no time in between them. So 2 million orders, no time in between them, $100,000 an order, that's 20. So that's 20 buys right there. I don't think I could click that fast, all right? And it wouldn't register on their platform no matter how fast it is either way. So the point is, I'm letting everybody know because that is a risk that you cannot take. I cannot take the risk that there will be this one-off edge case bug, a statistical anomaly, one type of fucking event, a shuffle of a deck of cards that'll never happen again. And I say that because, you shuffle a deck of cards, you'll never have that sequence of cards again, right? You could say that that's the first time it's ever happened in the universe. I don't care if that is the case, right? The chance of that happening, the risk from that is too great. So whether you are a traditional trader using Quant Tower, whether you are trading crypto, right? If you're using margin, imagine coming back to your computer and you liquidated your entire account and you're using margin on an exchange that is not peer-to-peer, where you're actually on the hook, where they'll send you a fucking bill, right? So there's just no way around that. And they didn't own up to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that everybody knows exactly what happens and how they handle their issues. And I don't give a shit. I mean, I don't care. Okay. Someone to build a better platform, right? That's what happens, right? Make sure that your customers are taken care of, own up to your mistakes, have accountability, right? And that's all. So I just wanted to get that rant out of the way. I apologize if it was long, but it is what it is. When it comes to money on the line, right, you don't want to be taking risks that, it won't even be user error. Platform error, that's counterparty risk, okay? So clearly they have some issues. If they didn't have issues, I love how the guy was like, if we have issues, how come no one complains? I had a ton of DMs screenshotting complaints. Not only that, their platform, it almost requires you to update it every fucking day. And for the reason of fixing bugs. So it doesn't make any sense. Okay? I'm young, but I wasn't born yesterday. Even though I'm old. I think you get the point. All right, so let's take a look at BTC. Now that whole diatribe and choosing violence has come out. Let me just go through the chat real quick. All right. Thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for listening. Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't really panic. My adrenaline started going up, but I immediately went onto my phone and opened my laptop. And I always make sure I have some type of fail-safe close by. I mean, you guys can see. Oh, where'd it go? I put it in the kitchen. I always make sure that I have another computer charged up, hardlined, ready to go. And I got onto my phone, and as you can imagine, the split seconds it was taking though were really bothering me to get onto the exchange because it's a race against time at that point with the amount of buys that were coming through before any movement against price just liquidates your account. So yeah. All right. Now this mouse is brand new. This is the Logitech MX Master 3. All right, I bought this last week because Darren on Twitter recommended it. Nothing wrong with the mouse. I couldn't even click that fast. Trust me, guys, I play Call of Duty, and I'm always like trying to see how fast. No, I can't. Trust me. The hot T for buy is also B. Market buy is B. So I wasn't even close. I say I wasn't close to my keyboard, which sounds funny because like my keyboard's next to my mouse. But as you can imagine, I was walking into the room and I did this. Okay? I literally bought like that. And so for someone to tell me otherwise and tell me that I don't know what I did is like, don't call me an asshole, man. Like, all right, so let's take a look at the chart. No, I'll probably give Ichibot a try. All right, so now let's take a look at BTC. A couple things about BTC. I shared so for one profile, let's just look at profile really quick. You know, yesterday's profile, the kind of profile that you want to see if you're going to be confident about any kind of bottom forming, at least in the interim. You know, you have this trend type day. We have a ton of soak at the bottom. So we have volume at the bottom, but very quickly price is trading above where a majority of that volume came in. So, you know, trend, a lot of the times, you know, a poor sign is the way it began, which is you had a balanced structure. You have a move outside that is accepted, right? Volume is coming in. There's really there's not much volume coming in, but price is maintaining presence down there. It's not like we had a ton of selling volume. Price is finding presence down there, but price is immediately reclaiming the levels where most of the participation came in. So in a trend, you know, if we're going to see a trend continue with conviction, a breakdown like this, you'll typically see that price will continue to trade lower, and we won't be able to reclaim any significant area that has been established. And this is sort of we say soak, you know, price moves down to this level, soaks a ton of activity, and price is very quickly trading back above. You have that coupled with, you know, a close of this gap, right? So close of that gap, cleaning out of that inefficiency, take prior day's lows after 2 days of very balanced structure. So we know that price is very likely to, or buyers are very likely to front run any major technical levels. And we also have what has been predominantly neutral to negative funding. So sort of a perfect storm to expect less of a pullback than more of one. You know, what also something I pointed out, so just to go to Coinalyze, since I don't want to leave you guys with just that whole rant in the beginning. Another thing to point out with Coinalyze is we are looking at open interest to market cap ratio. So if we look at this current structure on the high time frame, so open interest to market cap ratio, you know, we talk about, I've gone over in previous videos how what I'll do is I'll look at two areas of price that, let's say, they line up. For example, let's say these highs, you know, these highs, you had, you know, the opposite case at the lows, but I want to point out the bearish case because we're moving up now. So we have, let's say, for example, these equal highs. Okay, so equal highs in price action. If we look at the open interest where those occurred, it's relatively the same, right? The opposite case is the trap that's set up at the lows, which is the example, but to the downside. So looking at equal lows across the board, and what did market cap to open interest ratio do? Rather, open interest to market cap ratio do, it went up. So a lot of the times we'll look at very specific areas on the chart and point these little sort of idiosyncratic cases where, you know, you'll have price at, let's say, equal highs, but, you know, open interest will be through the roof. Price at equal highs, open interest, let's say it's increasing much more. You know, price went up 5%, open interest. You know, bad sign would be price going up and open interest going up multiples of the price action. So open interest goes up 15% for price action, then went up 5%. All right, so positive funding, open interest going up, all these things to indicate that maybe at that point in market structure, that participation that's coming in is having not much effect on price for the amount that's actually getting involved. So this looks under participated in. Price going up, the market cap to open interest ratio is staying relatively flat. So it's kind of what you would expect if you were to say, what would disbelief look like in the futures market? The worst case would be, you know, we're moving up here and this is mooning. You know, we see open interest like skyrocketing on positive funding. We don't have that. We have flat open interest to market cap ratio, and we also have neutral to negative funding. All right, so these all say that it's mostly spot driven. All right, they don't directly set, you know, my point is these don't indicate any kind of major offsides positioning on the futures market, which is kind of what helps move price in the short term in this market if we're going to have any cause for concern. Like, the point is, we're not overexposed in perpetual swaps, whether they're USDT margined or coin margined. And well, look, price is ripping up right now. That's very nice. So nothing like it coming to fruition as we're talking about why it's still bullish. So, and that's all, folks. Thanks for tuning in. That's always nice. That is always nice when you get long right before that. Okay. So anyway, hope it's not nuking my Doge position. I mean, do I want to even look at this right now? No, it's not. Doge is moving up. This is another sign of a healthy market. So everything on that front looks good. No overheating yet. Another thing that's worth pointing out, all right, and I've said this before. So I shared this post on Twitter, Avi Feldman, Block Tower Capital. I frequently will share Genesis volatility, point out the options market, and we talk about how the options market is a smarter market. It's filtering better, smarter participants. Okay, so when I see a ton of volume coming in, that's nice. I'm looking at BTC on the other screen. So it's good to be, it's always nice to long just in time. So when you see large block trades coming through for calls in the short term, previously up to this point, that's been a leading indicator of things to come. All right, so we've seen interest in the 50K strike, 52K strike, and we're talking in the next 2 weeks to 1 month. So short term. And usually this has preceded upside movement, and it's got a good hit rate so far. I don't really, I don't look into it much more than that, than saying there's all these details now lining up that it makes sense to still be exposed to spot. So as you guys know, I got out of spot around 44K. I actually recently just got back into spot. So, as I just mentioned, I got long again. So you got to be willing to buy higher, right? I talked about this. If we're grinding against resistance, it might mean that I'm buying above 50K. So it's my job to figure out whether or not that 40 to 42K pullback is coming, or whether or not I should be buying higher, right? And that's the cost of doing business. Sometimes you close out at 42 and you got to buy $2,000 higher. But, there's one thing that people make a mistake in doing when they're trading is if they feel like they missed it from the beginning, they spite themselves where they won't buy again. Don't think about BTC as the romantic asset where you need to be in it the whole time. Just think about the chart for where you're looking at on the screen and capturing little increments, right? Little increments can be any size on the screen depending on what scale you're looking at. Just think about capturing the opportunities that exist. Don't kick yourself because you weren't long from, 35, right? Don't say, because it wasn't long from 35, I need to wait for a much bigger pullback. And again, this is not financial advice. This is things that traders can do to where they will not be buying, even if they get good setups, because it's almost like a form of self-sabotage. They are, what's the word? Self-sabotage, not masochist, something like that, right? So another thing that's worth pointing out is alts are performing well with BTC. Okay, so alts performing well going up with Bitcoin. It's not a matter of Bitcoin's going up, going down. Alts are outperforming. Alts go up, go down. Bitcoin outperforms. Okay, which would indicate that maybe there's just flows going through, cycling through each. Okay, and then at that point it's a little bit like, okay, at some point no one's getting the benefit of the next flow, right? So it's getting cashed out. So if BTC is moving sideways and is pulling back, especially when alts have been moving up with it, and alts are still holding up, that's a very good sign. Because at some point, what always happens is the alt capital comes down. So alts are higher beta, right? More reflexive. You expect more out of them. They're riskier, et cetera, et cetera. They have different liquidity profiles. So at some point, money flows down the risk curve into less risky assets, which happen to be BTC and ETH. BTC, ETH, top 10, yada, yada, yada. But we see this a lot of the times after the low caps pump, we know all right, it's probably time to be back into Bitcoin or the majors or be flat, right? So we know that still exists, right? That flow is still sort of untapped. So it's another thing to also focus on. The market just looks good. We went over high time frame details the last couple of streams. Guys, I go with the high time frame stuff, but it gets kind of repetitive. I'm a low time frame guy. I get exposure on the high time frames of spot and swing trading, but there are things that I've gone over many times before, the Hull and the 20 period moving average, for example. So 20 period on the weekly, we're above it, we reclaimed it. This means bulls are in control. Okay. The only way that I would say that I'd be worried now is honestly if we're much lower again. Like we'd have to be back below the midpoint of this range for me to be worried again, because otherwise, as I've said, price can move up from here significantly, but we could still come back and test the top side of this structure. And it could still be tremendously bullish, like great dip buying opportunity. So who knows if we get that. We know that Bitcoin, when it's trending hard, it's those pullbacks are theoretical, right? They exist in textbooks and TA books, but we don't see them in BTC. Shit just keeps running, right? And that's what a strong trend is. It doesn't let you in. There's a sense of urgency by buyers. Think about how you feel. Price pulls back $1,000 and you think, what if that's the pullback? You know, I have my idea of it visiting 32, but fuck, what happens if it's only coming back to 44.5? You know, how do I discern whether or not once it starts moving up from 44.5, if that's not just some kind of bounce off 44.5 that's going to come back down to 42, or if that's the bounce that's going to take us above to new all-time highs. So you could tell, you know, there's a whole clusterfuck of emotions you have to go through in your trading. It's best to have a system, right? Where you'll say, support turns resistance. We see signs of absorption. We see signs of, for example, no crowding in futures. Funding still, you know, negative to neutral. I can't be expecting a whole lot more from this. I have to err on the side of caution, right? Which means for me, buying higher than expecting lower. So high time frames look good. You know, what we're looking at right now on the low time frames is we see soak at the lows, same at the highs though. So ideally, you know, after a move, and the move, we just got to poke up, right? This is so far a big selling tail, but really it stops getting blown out, as you can imagine. So if we look at, I'm sure a good amount of stops just got blown out. Not a whole lot actually. When we're looking at FTX, let's look at, actually, so you have Bybit, open interest kind of nuked. Bitmax, open interest, but FTX, nothing major. FTX seems to be on the right side of the trade lately. I went over this in a stream 2 streams ago, 1 stream ago. I said, if I see size on FTX, it's something that I'm not going to fade versus seeing size on Bybit. So for anyone who saw my $8 million in orders yesterday on Bybit, I feel bad because that actually did work out. I would be up $2 million, by the way, right now. I'd be up $2 million if I held that long. I'm pretty sure it'd be $2 million. It would be up $100,000 at $500 and above. So it'd be probably $500,000. I can't think of that. I can't do the math right now. I can, but I think you guys see I'm being lazy. So, I mean, you know, before this kind of ruined the stream to some degree. What I was going to talk about was after a move like this, trending day back in the opposite direction after we have this soak down here, right? You build a nice base. So a little B for base. As long as you maintain the top side of the structure, you should be bullish, all right? So the opposite is when we build that distribution at the highs, you know, we wanted to see that we maintain this. So we did. We stayed above the point of control. The cause for alarm that we would have got into would be if we started trading back below, 46. So trading back within this low volume area. But we didn't, right? So right now what we're looking for is ideally 47 to 46.7, right? Just eyeballing it. The top side of this range to act as support. Now, that being said, if we're watching a big move in the making, you know, how many times has BTC given you that technical pullback? If it gives you that technical pullback, do you want to buy it, or is that a time when, hold on one sec, when we're actually having a fake out? So on BitMEX, take a look at this. 6 million contracts, 8 million contracts. So this order right here, pretty decent size, right? 8 million sold, and it stayed bid. So what that means is price came up here, someone sold 8 million contracts, whether that's longs being closed or, longs being closed, right? Pretty much that's really it. Or shorts being opened. For that amount of volume that came in, price is still supported above 47.5. So it's a good sign, right? After a break upwards, that's what we look for on the low time frames. We look for, break up. If this is a level we're focusing on in the pullback, is that level sold and is it holding? So I always say sold and hold, right? So if you see high volume come in and price doesn't drop, well, If a lot of volume comes in and it doesn't move price down, it's telling you where strength lies, and it's on the other side of the bid. So looks good. Great timing. Let's go back to the chat. Let's take a look at Doge. Some pairs that I'm currently in right now. So I'm not in Ray. Let's see. Ghost still in. I shared this. Someone bought like 3 million contracts after, or 3 million worth of this. Huge pump after, like 39%. But it just looks good in the high time frame. Low cap, but you got to play once in a while. Triple high, retest. This probably is going to move pretty hard over the coming month. Sushi looks awesome. Sushi looks awesome. Got in and out of sushi the last couple of days. Finally stayed in. Sushi looks awesome, right? If we're going to be starting to trend now, you'll see me sharing more of the higher time frame charts with moving averages because I can't micromanage the alts. I can't be trading every single thing with a TPO chart and a footprint. Nor do I think it's as actionable. So with alts, I'm looking to tag on swing positions, longer term plays, things that I really honestly don't care if they move too much against me. So sort of low time preference rather than high time preference, meaning I don't care too much for what occurs in the immediate time after I enter the position. It's something that I expect to breathe a little bit. So using a moving average, using something like the Hull 20 or the 55 is very good. I prefer to use the 55. So trend is just very strong. I mean, if we look at sushi right now, it's retaken all previous levels. It's engulfed the entire move down. We're approaching the next significant area of resistance, which is 13. We're right around 13. And above that, it's really nothing. It's an inefficient move down, which is kind of a gap. So break up. If we're back above 13, I don't expect there to be much resistance between 13 and 20. Doge, I mean, what's more to say about Doge than for a chart that went from looking like absolute dog shit, it's looking like absolute golden dog shit. No, it looks awesome. I mean, if we look at all the times where this should have puked really hard. So what the market isn't doing is telling you a lot about what it's probably going to be doing. So we have a gap down here. It was right to be bearish into this move, right? Until we saw some type of stability form or some type of reclaim in price action, reclaim in market structure. So the whole way down, it didn't look like that. The only time that you have a flip is right here. So you start to trade it back above the previous levels. And now you have acceptance back above the 20 period weekly. 20 period weekly moving average, that's a big fucking deal. And you have this big rounding bottom that's forming. And the last time that it did that, it absolutely moonshot. And if things are moving up now, Doge has a cult following. All right, so I don't expect this to do anything else besides follow. ETH is absolutely now, right? So supply is burning, and this is always going to outperform BTC. I love BTC, right? I absolutely love BTC. I have the most meaningful position in my portfolio is in BTC, but ETH is sized accordingly. It's sized appropriately because it is higher beta, but I do expect it to outperform. Everything that is being used for the most part is on ETH. ETH looks good. DOT, same thing. DOT reclaim, previous range lows, looks to target range highs around 26. CRV, breaking out of a previous range. I mean, you have highs around 268, but trading above this pivot right here. Trading above the 20 period on the weekly now. There are a lot of people that are still not following this, and they think that. So I always say, it's one thing to have opinions on positioning, see evidence of it, but I still need, the most important thing for me is to see that buyers can actually lift price. So, there was a reason why I was bearish during this range. Every time I called for lower prices, they came. Okay, but I got shit on because I didn't say I was bearish the entire time. Well, I'm really sorry I didn't hold from 47 all the way down to 29. We had all the signs in positioning, right? Funding being negative, okay? Divergences and delta at the lows. All right, that's cool, but price was still finding lower prices, even though it was grinding down there. All right, and grinding down to the lows is even worse. What we needed to see was price reclaim previous levels. All right, so we ended up getting that right here. Ended up getting that right here. Starting to retake levels and showing signs of strength. So you need to see that with alts too. Let me just go through the chat. Doesn't always work like that, but today's stream worked out quite well. Yeah, people feel like if they didn't capture the best move on the screen, that they almost don't deserve to buy at all. And this is something that you have to get over. So there's going to be a lot. So let's say that you long shot and buy BTC at 50K and it goes up. Well, for me, right? Let's say I was going to say there's a trade on the table. It's 50K to 100. It's 2x. I think it's going to 100K. Let me just long, right? I think that ultimately it's going to 100K at least. So between that path, though, which is a 2x, there's many times when you'll probably be able to get in excess of that. So why deny yourself the good setups that exist, even if it means you're buying higher than where you should have, you could have originally bought, right? You didn't buy it, you're kicking yourself. Don't punish yourself. I love Phemex. I trade my alt DeFi pairs on Phemex. So the spot bags that I pick up, and if I'm trading contracts on them as well. I did tell the QT story. It's in the beginning. Yeah, so Rarible looks good too. Still long Rarible. Shared this the other day. This is a Poloniex chart, doesn't look that good, but it doesn't matter. I mean, you see what's taking place. This flip right here is taking place. Sounds like there's a big machine outside ripping up my property. So, I mean, next logical area for me is right around 24, but you have to just say, okay, what kind of environment are we in right now? If everything is on the up and up and this is the beginning of the next leg of the cycle, it's probably going higher, right? It's thinner. It's under 100 market cap, 100 million market cap. Oh, wait, I didn't change the chart. Hold on one sec, guys. Glad we didn't let that go forever. Yeah, Rarible right here. Sorry about that, guys. I know if I'm gonna look at the chat right now, it's gonna be like, your screen! Phemex is the fastest crypto exchange. Their matching engine is 300,000 transactions per second. It's the fastest, 100%. FTX has this weird lag, and I think it allows them to change their position right away. Hold on one sec, guys. Sounds like they're knocking at the door. Sorry about that, guys. I thought that was the guys outside knocking on the door needing to tell me something. It's actually my wife. All right, let's go back to the screen. Yeah, so ADA. One thing about ADA is if they're finally releasing something significant, I think those are all going to be really easy longs. Regardless of what they end up doing, I mean, ADA looks primed right here. they're finally doing something. I mean, if it's more than a rumor and they actually release, then those are just, I think, easy longs, because there's so many people that have been waiting for that, regardless of whether they're wrong about the long-term thesis. So, how long are we into this stream? Gonna wrap it up soon, guys. Just wanted to do a quick stream. Gonna give away some BTC though. So like and retweet the link that I shared. All right. And I will go ahead and pick winners tomorrow. We haven't done it in a couple streams, so let me just pull the chat out again. Yeah, I do. I do look at weekly profiles. Yeah, I look at weekly profiles, but after I get levels from them, it's not like I'm constantly looking at the chart. Yeah, like all announcements and buy the rumor, sell the news that takes place in crypto, I don't think ADA is any different, at least initially. Mango, I mean, I wasn't able to get in it, but seems to have a lot of traction and a lot of popularity amongst some of the more important people in the space, so it's probably going to be something significant. All right, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up, though. Thank you for tuning in and listening to me. And yeah, I can pick you. Yeah. Until next time, we'll do another stream on, let's see, probably Sunday or Monday. All right, guys. Everyone have a fantastic evening. It's been a pleasure. Until next time.